wicked. Oh, I just rip their throats out. There's evil, horrible, Talmudic Jews in it. Here's something that's very current, that will happen today, will happen thousands of times today. And here it is, believing nonsensical videos about anti-Semites regarding the Talmud or regarding this bad thing about the Jews. So if you go online today on YouTube with just probably 5-10 minutes of searching, you can find, I guarantee you, dozens of videos by people who purport to be born-again evangelicals. Some of them are even in a pulpit in some clearly evangelical church. And they will go on and tell you that the Talmud, by the way, the Talmud is a set of approximately 30 volumes that were canonized around the year 550 AD. And it's the series of transcripts of rabbis debating how to keep Mosaic law. That's a mouthful. Once again, the Talmud, and this is a very important point because this is one of the leading causes of anti-Semitism among those who claim to be evangelical. The Talmud is a set of approximately 30 volumes. It is a literal transcript. It's like if you saw a transcript of a court proceeding where, witness A, they'll have every word that he says, even the ums and the ahs, every sound that he makes. A transcript will have that. Well, the Talmud is a transcript of arguments by the rabbis, debates between the year 200 and the year 500 AD about how to keep Mosaic law. There are several dozen different rabbis whose comments are quoted in the Talmud. What anti-Semites have done is they've combed through the Talmud because now you can do that electronically. You could not do that 30 years ago. But now they've combed through the Talmud and they've tried to find little snippets that might implicate a certain sort of teaching is wrong. Here's a very graphic example, and sorry to trigger anyone by this, but this is literally what the anti-Semites will say. They'll say, oh, did you know that those Jews think it's all right to rape little girls? And you say, that's crazy. Whoever told you that? And they'll say, oh, it's in this video I saw on YouTube. And they'll cite a verse from the Talmud. And the discussion is, what should be the penalty about an adult man who has sexually violated an underage girl? And there are 6 or so different rabbis who discuss the penalty. And most of the rabbis are saying, oh, this man should be stoned. He should be taken out of the town and stoned to death. This is a terrible, horrible thing. This offends God. We can't do anything less than it's a capital punishment. Another rabbi said, well, he needs to pay a dowry to the father of the young lady and take her as a wife. In other words, he's not going to be physically punished. So what the anti-Semite does in these YouTube videos, he isolates that one tiny view. He ignores the 8 rabbis who said the guy should be stoned to death. It's a terrible thing. How dare something like this happen in our community? And he cherry picks, he extracts the one statement about the one rabbi who gave his opinion. And his opinion was that the young lady's father, if she's a minor, should be compensated financially, and then the man, the offender, has to marry the girl so that she can have a life. And so this view, as soon as the rabbi so-and-so says this, the other people say, you're crazy. How dare you say that that man should go unpunished? In other words, the Talmud, and particularly the Gemara section of the Talmud, they immediately refute the opinion of that individual who said, oh, he should be forced to marry her. But the anti-Semites don't quote that. They pick out that one passage and they'll say, look what the Jews teach. They teach that it's okay and you just have to pay the bride price and pay a dowry. So in other words, they go into this enterprise with the idea that they hate Jewish people, so let's try to find something that's going to implicate them. They're fully ready to be dishonest and give you a false idea about the Talmud.